to know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.
Yeah. I want everybody to know I feel good. You feel me? But we here. We here. Welcome to another episode of the Matthew 7 and 7 Project Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel. And here with me, as always, Coach AK.
What's up? What's up?
Dom C.
What's going on?
And we got a special guest with us here today. I know it's D-Mac, but it's Demaya Unique. We're not going to play around with the name. All right? How you doing, Demaya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that you're here. We glad that you're here.
For sure.
It's been a long time coming.
Definitely.
It's been a long time coming. I'm glad you're here.
But I know.
You can't stop it right there. You can't stop it right there. Yeah, he left us on a
Hey, that's how you gotta do it. That's how you gotta do it, man. They gonna tune back in.
The marketing strategy.
Yeah. I got
Gotta
that from somebody.
You gotta hook them in. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. But let's get right into it. Demaya, I want to ask you so many questions, and I want to start off with just talking about what you do. How old are you again?
22.
22. And where you work?
Where?
Yeah.
For myself.
Yeah, that's So what do you do?
A lot. A lot. I sometimes dread that question, not gonna lie, because I'll be like, how can I put this in the simplest way possible where you get it?
Right.
I get what I do.
Right,
but how
right,
can I
right.
make you get it?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do a lot. I call myself a multi-passionate, faceted entrepreneur. I build both the visionary and the vision. So I find myself doing a lot of mentoring, coaching, pushing, all of the things, but also I help build brands, ministries, all of those things. So not only do I build the brand, but I build the person. And so, yeah, you'll find me dibbling and dabbling in everything. Events, coaching, servicing, brand designing, all of the things.
And you cold. You cold at what you do. When I tell y'all D-Mac got us together and helped us with our brand, I ain't gonna lie to you though, she had us fighting. Like we was light beef. It was light beef. But it was the questions that she would ask you makes you dig deeper. Right. And you realize like, dang, have I been operating on a surface level? And she just keep poking you into like, nah, go deeper. Like you're gonna stop playing with me. It's kind of like when you were a kid and you learn how to swim and it's like you playing on the 3 feet and it's like, nah, go out there. It's like, I'm scared.
You said
nah,
you wanted to swim.
Right.
So, and that's what it is. You say you wanted to swim.
And I really, because working with Demaya, by being mentored by her one-on-one, but then also in her visionary bootcamp where the visionary was built before the vision came into place, it shows you, are you really, really doing what God has called you to do? Because if you're really, really doing what God has called you to do, you don't mind digging deep. You don't mind those growing pains and those frustrations that you may feel because you understand the assignment that has been placed into your life and on you. So you're going to know like, yeah, God, you got to show me because Demaya's not playing. I got to finish this homework by this day. And if it's not done, she going to have something to say. But it shows you a lot. It equips you. And it also makes you very proud and have a lot of sense of pride in the brand or in the vision that God has given you.
Make you put in the work.
Yeah.
Like,
this is what I want to ask.
He's like, I got a question. Hold on.
Was it something that was modeled for you? Was it something that you saw or lack thereof? What was it that really made it clear for you, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Aha moment.
That's a good question. I feel like for me, it was the lack thereof. And this is just like growing up in my community, there wasn't, and I think this is what started my drive for like young people, young adults in general. There wasn't like, for me, someone that sat down with me and made me dig deep. And so, like, I tell this all the time, even before there was something called the Visionary Boot Camp, my life is the Visionary Boot Camp. Like, God had to do it for me first before I could do it for somebody else. And so I knew what it was like to not know my place in the world, not know what my purpose was, not knowing how to find my own lane. And like, I've had the experience of walking in somebody else's shoes and like, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, but yet everybody else is affirming this person. So maybe I'm supposed to follow them. And then following them, I'm like, nah, bruh, this don't fit me. Like, I'm out of place. I'm out of position. And so I think that is what really made me hit my rock bottom, because I'm like, I know I have gifts. I know what really pushes me or sets my heart on fire, yet I'm not doing it. And so that time, I feel like not having someone to really look up to and not having what I need for someone to ask me all of those provoking questions and say, well, why are you here? If there wasn't a Demaya in this world, what would be missing? Like, I didn't have someone to pick my brain. And don't get me wrong, the lack of people didn't mean the lack of God. And I think that's what really helped me to get in position, was because when I had no one, God gave me the strategy, God gave me the wisdom, and now I'm able to sit here and do the same thing for other people. So it's basically what God did for me, honestly. You know, making me sit down with myself, because I think as young people, we like to busy ourselves with jobs and relationships and people and social interactions. And sitting by ourselves can be so like, oh, no, I don't want to do it. Yeah, it's scary. Like, I don't want to do that, because I know if I sit with myself, I got to go deep. I don't want to go deep.
I got to deal with what come up when I sit with myself. And you had said, you know, something about doing other things and how other people affirm those other things. And I always talk about how, you know, we so good at a lot of things, because that's how God created us. So sometimes we confuse the good things and the good qualities with our call. And it's so easy to get lost in the sauce and be like, I'm going to operate over here because I'm really good at it. That's why people can be so successfully to the world standards but still feel empty. And when you had said that, like, you know, that's when you hit rock bottom. The first thing I thought was like, did she hit rock bottom spiritually? Because, you know, when you up here and everything is clicking and everybody looking at you, oh my gosh, you're doing so good and you're moving so well, but I'm still at rock bottom. So it's like, it
just feels so good to have another woman in a room. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we gonna turn AK up.
No, that's good. That's good, because I feel like when you asked the question, did I hit rock bottom spiritually, I would say yes, because outwardly it's like, oh, you're getting the affirmation, oh, you're doing so well, like you're growing here, you're this, you're that, but it's like, for me, I felt empty because I still didn't find like, or feel like I found my place. And what was my lane. Like, I'm in somebody else's lane, but I'm getting the applause. I'm getting you doing really good. You're advancing, but it's like, deep down inside, I think it was a void. Like, but I'm not in my place. I just know I'm not in my place. And that's something, again, that you find when you sit with yourself and be like, no, I'm acting like so-and-so. Like, I'm walking in so-and-so's shoes. I'm not walking in my own shoes.
Because we attach everything good to God automatically. So it's like, I heard Bishop say, he said, I know people that got 5 houses, you know, 5 cars each driveway of those houses, and on their way to hell. So we attach that good thing to, you know, our position at work, how much money in our bank account, and it got to be God, because I mean, look, I'm blessed. Can't you tell? And it's like, it's a lot of people that think they blessed, but, you know, the enemy gave them that.
It's. I think the best way to put that distinction for people to understand, you know, what you should be doing is comparing not good and bad, but good and right. Because, you know, we see all kind of things as good. We do things as good, but when you find a thing that's right,
Yeah.
like that's when you know you align. And it's so,
and it might not be good.
Yeah, and the thing that you said that really hit home for me was God had to do it for me first.
Yeah.
That's like the staple model for ministry, even for our witness, us being saved. That's the whole point. We just got done talking about this. God did this for me.
Exactly.
This is how he moved in my life. He rearranged these things. He changed my mind. He changed this. He changed that. He planted me here, and he can do the same for you.
Exactly.
Right.
And the other thing, and it's, I'm not old, but
When everybody say something, so I said, I'm not old. They say the oldest thing in the world.
they 22 though, bro. Like that is blowing my mind because, and I know you experienced this, but even I'm about to be 31. Even being, I'm still young too. Like I make that joke.
I just thought about that Kevin Hart, like, dang.
No, I ain't been like that. But
I heard how you said it. We know what you meant. But like the amount of people, saved and not saved, which is really the crazy part, who don't have that understanding, to have had that experience so young to where you are so sure of what a lot of people are still contending with and figuring out, and some just completely missing.
Yeah.
Like, to talk about, I was walking in somebody else's shoes and felt unfulfilled and felt like I wasn't walking in purpose and doing what I was supposed to be doing. For that to hit home, you know, that like so young, it's almost like the confirmation, like, oh yeah, I can see why that. Yeah, God purposed you to do that. Like, God purposed you to do that for sure. Like that's dope to me.
Yeah. That's what I always reflect on too. It's like, I feel like God had to mature me early because of who I'm called to. Like, I can't be called to young people who, like you said, at these critical ages, like 18, from the time we graduate high school to about 30, we really trying to discover who we are and all of those things. And it was very crazy, but also strategic and just like God to have me, like, I literally hit my rock bottom at 10. And I always question because I was always different than everybody else. I'm like, everybody out here kicking it, chilling, and I'm over here like having a.
What's your purpose? You want to play kickball, but what's your purpose?
Literally. Like, it was just hilarious to me because I'm like, I loved God when it wasn't trending. Like, when it wasn't TikTok, Christian TikTok, and it wasn't like, I'm going through middle school, like, I love Jesus, I'm a church girl, and like, everybody looking at me like, girl, what is wrong with you? But like, God called me out very early because he wanted to position me even now. And so, yeah, it's very crazy when I look at my life, I'd be like, at first, I hated it at first because I'm like, I can't fit in to save my life. Can't do what you do because if I do what you do, I'm convicted. Okay?
I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get in trouble. I say that at work all the time. You might as well just like, you don't understand.
I'll be the one to get caught. Everybody
I do that. Yeah, I'm going to be the example of
Literally.
I ain't just going to get caught. I'm going to be made an example of, like, dang, but 30 people just did that. Like,
literally. Like, y'all can just hang out, you know, skip school, go, like, do all of this stuff with the boys, hang out, all of this stuff, and I'm over here the only one feel convicted, like, oh, we gonna get pulled over by the police, they gonna tell my mama. I'm just like, no.
And you look back and you look back on all that stuff and you like, dang, God, you really had me. Because all the times we was covered. And, you know, we play a lot about, like, when I was young, dumb, and out of control. That Melvin, when I was young, dumb, and out of control.
That's that Judge Matthew. Drug jail. I was there.
But I remember, like, I really vividly remember my friends Monday morning from the weekend coming to school. Oh man, it was a crazy weekend. This and this happened. This person fought. This was yada yada yada. And I'm like, I'm going out next weekend. They talking about they fighting and everything. You know, I'm 17. I want to go out there and see the fight. And then I go out there and be a silent night.
Not a silent night.
Silent night. We in the car chilling to be, I mean, calm. Ain't nothing happening. We done went to the party. The party was nice. We done left the party. Now we going home. Stopped and got a little burger. I'm like, but what an action?
Where the
Like, what?
Hey,
Like, that's why I came out here
looking
for
for
it.
trouble.
Right.
Where's the action?
And you grow up and you look back and that wisdom hit you. And he's like, oh, I was covered.
Right.
And because y'all was with me, y'all was covered.
Right.
That's why don't none pop off when Sam around. Not because Sam don't want it to happen. I'm covered.
Literally.
Maya, you made a great point just about like growing up and how you didn't fit in, and you and I, we grew up together, and like just looking back, I can always see like different qualities in you that the puzzle pieces have been fit together, and it shows like why you were a certain way when you were a kid, as opposed to like why you weren't a certain way and how it matches up with now. What are some qualities that you know you possessed back then that make sense now?
Great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Looking back, cause I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna sit up here and act like my life just been all peaches and cream.
Right.
Cause I've had my times, y'all. Everybody, they be looking at me and I tell them and I be like, y'all, I used to be a bully. I used to be out here fighting. Like, I used to be crazy. But again, I had the encounter with the Lord early. So I think that's just what changed my whole ways. Praise God. But I think looking back, I've always had some type of drive early. And whatever I put my heart to, I went after wholeheartedly. So I think when it came down to my relationship with God, I just applied that. And it looked different from other people my age. So like anything that I put my mind to, like it actually isn't my first business. I had 2 businesses growing up. I had a candy store, duct tape business, all type of creative stuff. And I mean like duct tape, not just the gray duct tape. It was
right.
Kitty duct tape.
yeah, like it was zebra, all the things. But it's crazy because I feel like everything I put my mind to, I went all the way in. Like I did in excellence. I was never, I know a lot of people like struggle with perfection and like trying to get everything right. In my mind, as long as I gave it all I had, that's all that mattered to me. And so even if it wasn't perfect, it was done because I gave it everything I had. So I feel like growing up, that quality or characteristic is now showing in my life now, where that's why the things that I do and that God assigns me to do, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, even if it's my first time, like, I'm putting together a whole event I've never done ever in my life. Virtual, cool. I can get on Zoom real quick.
Right.
But a whole in-person event I have never done. And don't get me wrong, I have fears. I have worries. I have concerns. And don't get me wrong, I'm a dreamer. So I want everything to go the way that I see it in my head. However, one quality that I believe have been with me since I was young is whatever God give me to do, whatever I put my heart to, I'm gonna give it 100%.
Okay, those were the cute qualities. What about the qualities that may have like not got you like shine upon, but something that you wish you didn't have in that moment, or something that people
How I feel to have
you
somebody
about,
make you go deeper.
or
Right? 'Cause I was like,
the qualities that is like had you questioning like, okay, I know that this is me, but I can't really show this in front of other people because they're gonna say this or they're gonna say that. Because that was real cute.
I wasn't even trying to be cute. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. Maybe if I'd have had these questions beforehand.
Right.
That's the authenticity of it. We just hear
Nah,
real.
I'm just playing. Dang. Let me see. I feel like, and I guess me thinking out loud, I'm just do a brain dump real quick. I feel like for me, I had a low self-image or a negative self-image my entire life. So like, honestly, I'm talking about it in a good light today,
Right.
but I didn't like none of myself growing up. So even though, I went 100% and I, gave all that I had growing up, I didn't like that about myself because it's like, even in that, it sound good today, but back then it didn't look good or it didn't feel good among my peers because just imagine, take it back when Christianity wasn't trending on TikTok. Back then, like at 10, 11, 12, 13, like to pursue God wholeheartedly wasn't cute. So here I am, like, can we do a Bible study? Can we worship together? Can we pray together? And everybody looking at me like, girl, I just want to, do a little, what was the thing that was trending back then? Was it Vine? I want to do a Vine. I want to repeat. Keek. All that's what they wanted to do. And so it's like, here I am going 100% and loving God. And everybody looking at me like.
You by yourself.
By myself. So I think that quality in me had me traveling a lot of journeys alone. And so like, I've always felt like, I don't have anybody. Like, I don't have anybody that is here with me. Like, we both love Jesus. Whatever we do it 100%. I didn't have that. But again, a lot of the things, when I look at my childhood, I didn't like about myself. I didn't like how I talked. I didn't like how I looked. There were so many things I didn't like. When I think about it. But yeah, like, I guess I'm trying to think of qualities as I'm talking, but nothing's coming to my mind.
Do you feel? I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you feel like when you was growing up and you was in that period of being alone, that it prepared you for now being comfortable in those moments where you might have to be alone, where God gives you something and it makes sense to nobody else?
Yeah.
When nobody wants to support it because they don't see it.
Yeah.
But God gave it to me. And he been doing this since I was 10. So
Right.
if you don't see it, I don't care. Like,
Right. Yeah. I definitely will say, like, being isolated at first growing up, I felt like it was stupid. Because I'm like, so you mean to tell me if I travel this journey, I got to go by myself? But if I try to fit in with the crowd, then I can have friends. Then I can go with everybody else. And so I feel like at first it was like, yeah, I don't like this over here. I would rather do something else. Like, can you get somebody else to do it? That was me. But then growing up, now I'm like, okay, in this era of my life, I'm like, yeah, if don't nobody else go with me, who cares? Like, it's at a point where it's like, who cares? Because I know what God has said. And I know that some journeys you gonna be called to go along. That's what the anointing brings. That's what the calling brings. It brings that type of sacrifice because, and I've had to embrace this. It's been a lot, even in this season of my life, like it's been a lot of tears shed. It's been a lot of like, just not, even still not being okay with my journey sometimes, because it's like, I have to minister to people that's my age and people that's older than me. Right. So just imagine having to be a mentor to somebody that's your age, which you would rather key with. But the way that God used you can key 1 minute, but then you're going to be rebuking them the next.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not always a fun journey. And I think people seek to be the mentor. People seek to be the coach, but they don't know what comes with being a coach and what it means to be the one who's called to lead and to push and to do all of those things, because it's sometimes a lonely journey because you don't find a lot of people that's your age with your maturity level. And so a lot of the times it's just me and God, and that's okay. But I will say God will give you your circle. And don't get me wrong, that circle ain't always big, but He'll give you your circle. Which is great,
because I know for a fact, when you're young and, you got that charismatic spirit, and it ain't nothing but Holy Spirit, but you don't understand that.
Yeah.
So then it messes you up and you get upset. Like, I wish I didn't care so much, but you care.
Yeah.
But I feel like at a certain, like, immature, like when you was immature spiritually, at that phase in your life, I feel as though if you had so many people around you, you would care too much about what they thought. And not what they thought in terms of, should I do this, but how should I do it?
Exactly.
I'm considering everybody's feelings. God told me to do this, but how do you feel about it?
Right.
He told me I'm going to do it anyway, but how do you feel? And it's like, it slows you down.
You clouded at that point.
Right. So now all these different opinions and these different feelings. And so now, so now I'm slowing down because I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
So
I will say too, like, I feel like that's why God removed everybody. Because I will say it was the hand of God. Like, He allowed it to be where my journey was lonely because of the wounds that I had at that time. Like, I grew up in a single parent household. It was just my mom. And what I've learned along my time is that the father is the person who validates you, who affirms you. I didn't have that. And so that's what I looked for when I was younger. I looked for a lot of validation. I looked for affirmation. Am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right things? And like you said, that can slow you down. That can cloud your judgment, and that can cloud it's like you're allowing so many voices that you don't hear the voice.
Right.
And so God removed, like without my choice, without me saying, I would like you to remove them. Right. He removed them. And so I didn't have all of these voices to cloud my judgment on doing what God called me to do and healing and all of those things. And so it was really good that they weren't there, honestly.
Yeah,
and God's so consistent with that behavior that it doesn't even matter what your journey is, because you had a journey where you realized certain things and it was you didn't go in the direction whether you tried or not. You quickly realized, okay, I can't do that. For me, I tried so hard to fit in that even when I didn't, I'm fitting anyway. I'm uncomfortable right now, but I'm gonna act like I'm not. Right. And I know y'all have somewhat similar experiences as well, but no matter what, to get to where we are now, half, if not 75% to 80% of who you used to hang with, who you used to know, whether you don't have a number no more, or y'all don't talk no more, or you don't see them no more, like, that's how it had to be. Like no matter what your journey was, however you went about it, God, like, I mean, I'm gonna keep you covered. I'm gonna let you do your thing right now because you're a little naive, you're a little immature, but eventually I'm gonna have to go ahead and do that decision. Right. Lot can't go with you. Like that's a very important part to purpose. Is exclusion, not necessarily inclusion, but exclusion. Because what I have, you going somewhere. We're all going somewhere. That's why it's a journey. There's movement. There's a destination. That's what purpose is all about. So there's a set group of individuals and people that's supposed to get there. So you can try to bring whoever you want, but
the upgrades is crazy too. My mind's so illustrative. So like everything I think about, when God says something, I automatically put it with a vision to make it make sense. And I'm like, okay, we on this road and we traveling, and we got the 2-seater small, got the coupe. I don't got nobody with me. I don't need nobody with me. God said I'm by myself. And then, but the feeling of, okay, God, you told me to do this, and you put this person in my life, and they connect to these people. So, okay, you got me an SUV. I was in the coupe for so long, but now I got the SUV, and it's like, I don't know for nobody else, but for me, it's exciting when you have to upgrade because of what God is doing. Not because you saw something and you liked it, but God is like, you need more. I'm gonna supply all your needs, and you need more. So now you got the six people can fit in the car with you when it was just you. So I must be doing something right. I must be going in the right direction because now He's giving me my circle. So. That's dope.
That's the most.
No, go ahead.
Oh, that's cute. So look,
you've been waiting to get
Hey, look. So it was an episode. And Kay's about to say something. I said, I'm sorry, you go. She said, no, you go. He said, so y'all just gonna go back and forth?
Right.
We have manners.
We got a yes, though. It's a whole yes. I was just talking over you. I was just talking over you.
He said I was just talking over you.
No, but I'm gonna be real brief. I was just gonna say that's the most one of the biggest misconceptions about when God said it's not good that man be alone. So you got all these people that just seek people to be around them. God said it wasn't good for man to be alone. But He was being very specific about the kind of man that He was talking about.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about here. When you are flowing in purpose, when you're flowing in what God has called you to, when you're doing what He's given you to do, then that's when He says, okay, it's not good that man be alone.
Right.
Because what I called him to do, he's going to need some kind of support.
Right.
He's going to need some type of team, some type of circle. Okay, so I bring the people to that man.
Exactly.
Right.
It's good for a lot of people to be alone. And we saying we went through those seasons.
Right.
That's all I was going to say.
No,
that just sparked something in me because now that pushes me even more to reflect on myself and my daily actions to know, am I becoming that man that God was talking about so that I can have a circle
Exactly.
or those people that are meant to help me with my calling.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just seeking like, okay, friends or this or that. But am I that person that actually deserves that in terms of how God views that man?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Don.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Because, yeah, that just even brings back to my mind. I was talking about the visionary circle and, like, understanding the role and place that everybody has in your life. Like, everybody shouldn't have access. Like, and I think that's the thing that I've even had to learn the hard way is just like, because that's the type of person I've been. Going back to the qualities that you was talking about, it triggers them. Going back, I was very friendly. I could become friends with anybody. But it was also me, like, seeking friends and just, like, going above and beyond, like, in people pleasing. And so that quality I didn't like in myself because it was like, again, I couldn't be alone. So I just trying to fill my circle with everybody. But then also everybody else wasn't as friendly. And so here I am trying to make friends with everybody and they looking at me like, no. And so even growing up, I feel like for me, I'm the type of person I can get along with anybody. Like we can start a conversation and like had also saw in myself that I didn't really have secrets. Like I'm an open book. You ask me, I give it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have anything to hide. I live my life outwardly. Like I'm not fake or phony. So you're going to get it how you get it. This is Demaya. But what I learned along the time is that everybody shouldn't get 100% of you.
Right.
Because that's when, one, they can fumble it, and you also don't know what type of man they are. And so, like, I believe every friendship, every mentorship, everything should be tested, and you should see what type of person that is before you commit them to a certain role.
Right.
So, like, of course, every person along your journey, you should have a mentor, you should have a leader, you should have peers that's on your level, the same mental, capacity that you are, but then you should also have those that you pour into.
Right.
And so I think it's very important for you to understand what role everybody has in your life before you just go give the secrets. Because even Jesus didn't do that. Like, I'm not about to cast my pearls among the swine. There were only certain secrets that the disciples knew. Like, the multitude didn't know what the disciples knew.
Right.
And then even for the disciples, there were 3 that only went to the mountain of transfiguration. So it's like, you have to understand who, like, even though, yes, God will start showing, I'm putting these people in your life, I'm putting these people in your, oh, amen, that's good. But at the end of the day, like, who gets what? Because I can't give everything to everybody. Because that's going to end up hurting you.
Right.
So.
Yep.
You remember we was just having that conversation the other morning?
Right.
And you was telling us how I'm not the same person to everybody.
Exactly.
They kind of bring that full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got another question. So... Because it's good. So, being where you are now and understanding what you understand and functioning now and what you call to do, how do you balance that? Because that's something that we always try to portray and get across to everybody. How do you balance that with, still being Demaya? Like how do you keep everything where it's supposed to be and still be you? And not to say that there has to be a separation, but you get what I'm saying.
So do you mean like being authentic to who I am, or do you mean like not defining myself by what I do? Which direction you want me to go?
More so the latter. Yeah.
The latter. Okay. So I'm big on that. I'm big on not getting confused with your identity. Even now, I sit with myself a lot. And I make sure that, of course, as God leads me, even to go into rest. Because, like, I rest often. Rest is a discipline that I've learned. Because, and it's crazy, when I first started my business, God would call me into a sabbatical. Because I am the type of person as well, I know how to work hard. And for so long in my life, I defined myself by what I do. And if I didn't do anything, then I didn't feel good enough.
Yep.
I didn't feel qualified. I didn't feel like I added much to the world if I didn't do anything. And so that, again, played back into a wound that I had all the way back to my dad of not feeling good enough. You weren't. I wasn't good enough for you to stay. Like, I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't talented enough. I wasn't smart enough. And so, in my first sabbatical that the Lord led me into, I learned if I don't do anything else, I'm still good enough. If I never coach another session, if I never post another social media post, if I never go live again, I'm still good enough. Like, because when God created me, and he took me back to Jesus, and I say this all the time, when Jesus was baptized, before he healed anybody, before he, turned water into wine, before he did any miracle, when he was baptized, he said, "This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased." And so I began to realize a lot of the time we associate our identity with what we do. And I say this all the time too, we are not what we do. If we do nothing, we're still good enough. And a lot of the time as young people, we find it hard to be still because we've defined ourselves that, oh, if I go to this job, then I'm this. And if I'm in this role, then I'm that. And if I'm a leader, then I'm, that we're adding all of these titles and positions to define who we are. And so when we sit back and say, well, who am I? We then we get tongue tied because it's like, I don't know who I am aside from those things. And so I find myself, and it's crazy, I just came off of a quarterly reset, which again, I tell you, I do these disciplines for real. Like, this ain't just content. But so I did a quarterly reset. And as I go into every quarter, I take time and I sit down. I don't do nothing. I take off work for a whole week and I just reflect and I say, okay, Demaya, who are you? Aside from everything else, you ain't doing nothing. If you never do anything else, who are you? And I sit with myself and I'm like, okay, well, Demaya, I talk about my personality. I talk about how God has made me. I talk about, just like the factors of who I am aside from, again, what I do.
Right.
And I think a lot of the times, because we don't view ourselves how God view us, we then only know to define ourselves by materialistic things, by positions, and this was crazy. Even in our generation, we now have women defining themselves. Oh, I got married, so now I'm a wife. And that's the only thing I am. Or I got kids, so now I'm a mother. And that's the only thing I'm going to talk about. And it's like, that picks something in me. Because it's like, you're much more than that. God created you to be much more than a title. Because after your kids grow up and they leave the house, then what are you? A lot of mothers at that point hit an identity crisis because they don't know who they are aside from what they do. So for me to remain Demaya, and this is what I do. I do all of these things. But if Demaya never does anything else, Demaya is a social butterfly. Demaya loves to laugh. Demaya is this. Demaya is you know what I'm saying? What does Demaya, the value that Demaya brings to the table, aside from her being a purpose pusher?
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah.
The end of what you just said, that really hit home for me. Being a parent, it bleeds sometimes into everything else.
Yeah.
To where, my wife and I have to have conversations sometimes where it's like, okay, we gotta set aside some time for us. We gotta, because you get to that point where that's all you know, mom and daddy.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it because you're just functioning in whatever that role is. Yeah. And time don't went by and you realize, dang.
I lost myself.
Yeah. Or we've neglected this or that or this or that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Intentional living is very big for me. I will say that's my goal in my life, to live intentionally and to steward well over every area of my life. And that includes myself. I refuse to get lost in what I do. I refuse to get lost in a role. Even as a wife, I'm a wife, not just the business, but I'm a wife outside of that. I, serve at my church. I do a whole lot of things, but I refuse to lose myself in that. And like you said, just going through the motions. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. So I wake up and I and I go and I go and I go. But it's when do you reflect? When do you be still? When do you go into solitude? When do you just do stuff to pour into your own cup? Right. And not be the wife, the husband, the student, the this, the that. So, yeah.
It's easy, too, to get caught up.
It is.
Caught up in that hamster wheel. Yeah. I want to go back to something you said, talking about vision. And you clearly are a visionary. And you had said something about working with all different types of people. Some younger than you, some your age, some older.
Yeah.
Are you ever challenged on what you know because of your age? Is it difficult, and not even your age, but because of your age and the fact that you're a woman?
Yeah.
Like, is it ever challenged? Like, what can you do for me? Where they don't believe that you can provide the service that you say that you can?
That's a great question. I will say, and I don't know if it's how God made me, but a lot of people that I encounter and the way that I carry myself, and I think this is just a piece of encouragement that I would give to anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, in ministry, or whatever the case may be, is how you carry yourself. Because a lot of people don't think I'm 22. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime I get on a client call, I do anything because of the systems I have in place, my mindset, my approach, my communication. A lot of people don't think I'm my age. And I don't know if that's like a level of maturity or whatever the case may be, but I really do think it's how I carry myself, because when I do come across, like, people don't think I'm 22. And when I say I'm 22, they like, what? Like, you how old? When?
That's
Where?
what happens when you operate fully.
Yeah.
In Holy Spirit. Like, when you allow Holy Spirit to invade and operate, because the more you talk, the more I'm like, how many times has somebody, not believe that you were a certain age?
Yeah.
Because the world got these standards.
Yeah.
By this age, you should be this much mature.
Yeah.
And by this age, you should be moving like this. But no, I operate in the spirit.
Yeah.
We spiritual, beings having a human experience.
Exactly.
So I operate spirit first. So whatever parameters you got set and however you feel like I should be moving by a certain age, I'm already there.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit said we already there.
Yeah.
Like
advancement.
Yeah.
We move at a lot quicker pace. Like, and that's the thing too. God, it's really all God. And if you allow God to, He will mature you and advance you faster than the standard of this world. And I think that's what really does it, because it's like you can, and even when you look at the Bible, there were 8-year-old kings.
Yep.
You gonna sit up here and tell me an 8-year-old gonna lead a nation?
Right.
So it's like the advancement that's what's big for me. I always say, like, age is nothing but a number, because I've seen too many of them. You got 60-year-olds out here that's immature, I don't even want to say like a 2-year-old, but the only
thing that make them an adult is their age.
Yeah,
your mind is not an adult.
Mine is not an adult at all. Like, what is going on? You're not considering anything. You're just not mature at all. Like, you're just able to vote, sign a paper, and make a baby.
You can able to vote. What happens in this world is in your hands.
That's how I be feeling. Like, is this who gets to make the decisions? Because what is going on? And so it's just like, I really feel like partnering with God will take you to places that you would have never thought you would qualify for, because maybe you don't think you're old enough. Maybe you don't think you're smart enough. Maybe you don't even have a degree. I'm sitting here telling y'all the stuff that I know, the wisdom that I have, and not to boast in myself, but in God, because the wisdom I have, I didn't even go to school for. I went to school for marketing. Why am I talking about identity and wounds and all? Like, it's nothing but God. He gave it to me. He put it in me because I had to go through it first. And so I just be like, y'all better partner with God.
Right, because you can't do it without him.
No, you can't.
You always gonna hit a ceiling. That's why people are always freaking out. You got people in different parts of the world jumping off bridges because, I did everything and it's still not enough.
Yeah.
I did everything and no, but you didn't do everything.
You didn't do
everything.
Like, you ain't try God.
Right.
You tried everything else.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean try God. Like, try God for real. Like, not just dip your toe, but go all the way in and see what you're able to experience. And I think that's the problem. What we've seen in past generations is like, what can turn a generation off from God is, oh, you say you love God, but you live a double life. You say you love God, but you don't include him in your career, your marriage, your finances. You're not really doing life with God. And that's what my goal is to showcase to our generation, is like, this is what it looks like to do life with God. Because when you go all in.
You go all in. Hey.
What's that you be saying? The rules don't apply to me.
It don't apply to me.
I love
Literally.
it. I love it. Let's go and talk about it. We might as well stop playing around with it. You 22 and married.
Yeah.
what in the world? I don't look at it as something crazy because I mean, if anybody knows Sam, I know that ain't crazy. But
what? You said if anybody knows Sam.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shit, I would have been married back. But I had lost my train of thought. But I was saying about marriage, and the age you are being married. How many times have people tried to discredit your marriage? You don't know what love is. You ain't lived enough. Yeah. You know, y'all just going off of, you know, whatever. It ain't real love. Y'all gotta go through some things. Yeah. You know, so people want you to be so hurt, so bad. And it's like, why do I have to go through the same struggle? If I watched you do it and you telling me about it, and now look, I'm telling you, if you do this, this is gonna happen. Yeah. Okay, cool. But you gotta do this, and it gotta happen if you want it to work.
This dude at work hit me with that. I hadn't been married a year yet, and it's funny to people. I'm still in bliss. Right. It's funny to people who you have never asked for advice or wisdom
they give you all
in life that be like, "Come here, young blood.
Let me put you on the game."
Yeah, and what he told me was so crazy. He was like, "Man, you know, them first 5 years, them the hardest years ever. You know, you got." And I'm just listening to him like, I'm sorry.
And again, back to what you said, like, and these are our adults. These are ones that
that's what I'm saying.
Why are you not speaking life into me? Exactly. This is what you should be doing. This is how you have a successful
I'm proud of you.
Right.
Even if it didn't work for you, like, you know, I made these mistakes.
Be real about it. Be real about it.
Not just this how it went for me. So
this how it's gonna go for you.
I'm gonna tell you, be careful.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
But okay. So the question. I ain't forgot.
What was the question? I don't think I don't even got to the question.
Just like
you was
preface to what you were saying.
I was building it. Yeah. Okay, basically, what I was building to is how does it feel to be at your age and married? Like what, you know, struggles come with, you know,
how long
the decision you made.
So it's going on 3 years. I've been married since I was 19. So I was a lot younger than I am now. And honestly, looking over my marriage and getting married, it's crazy because when you were talking about and you were doing your preface, it's crazy because we face a lot of adversity getting married. Like you were saying, everybody put their own experience. Like, oh, don't get married because y'all still young. Y'all still need to try everything and see what y'all like and all of these things. And I'm like, but I'm looking at your life and it's a failure. Right. You don't know how to do relationships, so why should I take relationship advice from you? Right. Like, and I think that's the thing too. Like, how are you pushing your advice on me and you didn't do it right? And I could see if you was being real and saying like, I failed because X, Y, and Z, but you're still in denial.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's the kicker.
You still ain't took responsibility. Like you still, I don't know where he at. I don't know where she at, but it's their fault.
It's their fault. How is it their fault? And so I will say, getting married originally, it was a lot of adversity because everybody just didn't understand. My mom, his dad, they knew our maturity level. So when we said like, you know, we're getting married, but not because of our voice, but because the Lord is leading us into this, like, even though even Richard's dad wasn't saved, he like, you more mature than I was at that age. You ready to make that decision. Like, I trust, you know what I'm saying? I trust you. But people that didn't really know us or wasn't close, because we both grew up in single parent households. He grew up with his dad. I grew up with my mom. And so it was the parents that weren't there that had all the opinions. Like, you weren't here, but you had a lot to say. And of course, they didn't do relationships right. Because I mean, I'm the oldest of 14 siblings. And my mom only has one, so the rest is my dad. And so it's like, you didn't do a relationship right. You got all these kids, but you got the most to say. And so don't get me wrong. I feel like in some way he was trying to look out for me, making sure that I was making the right decision. But at the same time, he didn't understand the hand of the Lord and what God was doing. Like, this wasn't just, because I got cute feelings and I love him. Yeah, like, no, it was deeper than that. Like, and so, yeah.
I want to know how AK was. What was AK doing when y'all was kids? When you was doing what you was doing?
Let him know. know.
What was AK doing?
She was right there. She was my best friend.
Exactly.
We had all types of names.
I just want to make sure you always been the same, you know?
Yeah.
If you wasn't, it's cool. No judgment, we love you.
I would
No,
say
we
my
love you.
period of really like
That's how you get somebody to open.
right. I can't. My period of like hitting a rock bottom, or not even like a spiritual rock bottom, and knowing that I wasn't operating like spiritually and stuff. I would say coming out of high school through the first peak of COVID, that time is when I experienced my I'm not doing what's right. I know I'm not doing what's right. I got to do better. Then I had a moment of like really surrendering myself, being real with myself, being real with God. Therapy, the visionary boot camp, and then I just like blossomed.
Mm-hmm.
I already knew from the get go like the calling that God had on my life and all that, and the anointing and all that.
I
But
guess
it
you
just,
always know. You just you don't be wanting it like that.
Yeah, you don't be wanting it. You be like, nah, can you get somebody else to do it?
not for real.
And everything was short lived. Everything that you into.
When I went to college, I just knew like I had this whole plan.
Yeah.
I was in North Carolina for not even a whole year before I had to come back home, and God was like, "Nah, that ain't for you."
Yeah.
You know what's so dope though? Like, because we read about all the people in the Bible, like all the accounts in the Bible of what God did and how he moved and what the tone was and what their fears was, what their interpretations was, what their reservations was. But when people look back and read on our lives, it'll be similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, the same kind of situations. That's what makes it so powerful. Like people look at it like it's just a book of a random collection of stories written by Jesus. Like, but it's accounts of literally what people experience that we relate to very much so.
Exactly.
Like talking about, oh, I knew the call, but I ran from it.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew what God placed in my life, but I ain't trying. That ain't
Right, at
everything
least not
going
right
out
now.
here.
Can I live a little
Can
bit
I
and
be
then
in these
experience
streets
all
for
that?
a minute? Like,
And it lets you know how worked, you know, your mind was back then, because you felt like that was living.
Yeah.
Like people to this day, like I'm out here living my best life.
Are you?
And you know, if this is your best life, like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
It's so crazy because even when you asked about our childhood, I remember, because I think that was before teens years. We was in Sunday school and we was the smartest in the class.
It was.
Okay, every time we got up, like we knew the word.
And it's the fact that like we would get like the Sunday school lesson after Sunday service that day. You had the 7 days to practice. You had some questions you had to answer. We didn't need that pamphlet. We knew our word. We would call each other like about the Sunday school lesson and do it together. Like so we already knew.
Yeah. We was smart.
Okay. All right, then.
God was downloading the word in us early.
Literally. Sometimes, like, out of all the kids in the church, we would sometimes be the only ones that showed up to Sunday school.
Yeah.
Knowing the lesson.
Yeah.
Like I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
Nobody else want to drink. I
Yeah.
didn't Kool-Aid. Let me get some. You got some more blood back there. Let me get more of that blood.
No, literally.
All right. Look on my social media. I see you and I see the next gen. So I wanna hear about it. I want to talk about, you know, what you're doing in this season.
Yeah.
That is about to be impactful and empowering and, you know, moving to, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah. It's definitely a new season. And this was crazy. Like, that's what I think I love the most about my business is being able to be innovative and do things that I've never done before, but also birth something into the earth that has never been done before. Like, don't get me wrong. There are conferences, there are summits, there are all types of stuff. But what God gives you, I believe, is like when he created the world, there was no world that existed like the earth. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, God was able to express his creativity through what he created. And I think it's the same thing for us. And so even in my business, being able to put something together for young leaders all across the world, all across the city, all across the nation is really, it's what really moves my heart because I have a passion for our young generation. And I think a lot of us are asleep on what God has put on the inside of us. Like we claim we woke, but are you really? Like, I don't think we really understand the potential that was put on the inside of us. And a lot of the times it's because we're too busy, we're too distracted, and we think we know what our dreams and our plans and our goals are, but we have no idea, if we only bet on God, just how much more we can accomplish in this world.
Right.
And so it's so crazy because when I look at it, I did a virtual one last year. It was a 3-night one. And it was so crazy because I don't even think I realized on my own self that I spoke it into existence, because I'm like, this was real good. Like, if only this was in person. And then here come God, like, in person. So, like, I'm just like, here we are. And I will say it's definitely been an experience that stretched me even beyond my own capacity. And it's something that even God revealed to me, that not only do I use, your life to build you, I'm going to use this experience to build you. And so sometimes for the visionary, the vision is called to build you and expand you into places you never thought. So here we are, the Next Gen Visionary Summit. It will be August 25th and 26th. And when I think about it, honestly, where it all started is watching my brother go through an experience that I myself encountered at 10, but now watching him as a young man try to find his place in the world and try to find who he is outside of all of this world's influences. And it's so crazy because, again, I told y'all I'm the oldest of 14, but I grew up closely with the one that my mom had. And so he just turned 18, and just watching his experience, and of course, no child is alike. So his experience is a little different than mine, even though, yes, we were both raised in the same environment. We were both grew up in church. However, his experience was different than mine. And that's okay. We all have our own process. We all have our own journey. But just watching him and seeing the struggles that not just he has as a man, but also as a young man, a young leader trying to discover their own lane.
Right.
And so just watching him struggle mentally, and watching him struggle with his identity is what really birthed the theme for this year, being identity crisis and mental health. Because a lot of the times as young people, we have, and that's the thing I don't think other generations like before us understand, the amount of things that we are exposed to is kind of crazy. Like, we are exposed to so much information where it's kind of like information overload. And so here you have now a lot of young people dysfunctioning, because it's like, you got all of this information. The things that took them years to learn back then, we can learn in an hour. Like, the information is literally at our fingertips. And so it's like, where they could back then go home and not hear from the world, not hear from anything. Like, you had to turn the TV on to even receive information. And if you go far enough, like, there was no TV. But now it's like, you can literally hop on your phone and in 5 seconds hear what's going on in the world, be influenced by Susan, all these famous people, turn on music, you're being influenced through music, you're being influenced through media, you're being, like, it's so much that is influencing our generation, where because of the information overload, we don't know our place. Like, we don't know our place. We don't know our role. We don't know, like, our lane and who we are, because we have all of these influences and voices, but we're not listening to the voice.
Yep.
And so God is like, no, now you're going to, because I keep saying not on my watch, because who gonna stand up and say enough is enough? Like, we can have all of these critics looking at our generation like, oh, like, y'all going far off the deep end, y'all this, y'all that, but who's going to stand up and say, I'm bridging the gap, and I'm going to stand up for the young people so that they can know, like, you're not alone. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? You were born for more. Right. You can discover who you were meant to be, and you can silence all of these other voices and influences and find your voice. And so that's what the summit is all about. Like, wow. I want to empower, I want to activate, I want to push other young people to their purpose.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Yeah. How do people get tickets, and what's going on? How they? Yeah,
so you can go to my website. It's www.demyaunique. So it's DEMYAH unique unique.com, and then you'll see all of the information for that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And all that's gonna be in the description below. So It's gonna be easy and accessible for all you viewers, but you do not want to miss this. You do not want to miss the opportunity to be pushed and to open up the things that God has inside of you.
Yeah.
We all got, that heart of a lion. I love it. We all got the heart of a lion, but it's up to us to do the right things to unleash it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to roar, you ain't gonna want to go back.
Yeah.
So don't miss this.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Woo.
Golly.
I'm excited.
D-Mac, thank you for coming through.
Yes.
Thank you for
Giving
coming
us your
through.
time on this wonderful Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, even though it's raining, but
It stopped raining.
We already know how we feel
We
about
love
the rain.
rain.
Yeah.
It stopped raining though. On my way here, it was sprinkling before. Then it stopped when I was on my way here. So I was like,
You brought that sunshine
The sunshine.
in my life.
I don't know.
So you
I like
are
that.
Hey, when you do the arm like that. Thank you for coming through and impacting,
For sure.
not only whoever views this, but us.
Yeah. Cause y'all, whether y'all know or not, we kind of hinted at it, but she really got us together. Like she really set us straight, helped us get the vision together, helped us all that. Cause we just thought we was finna hit the chord.
Oh,
Y'all thought I already knew what we needed.
everybody said, I already know.
she's so look.
What?
Get this. I said this yesterday, right? And it's so crazy because it's true. The work that we got to put in. I feel like as true believers, we sometimes get in a mode of it's already rigged.
Yeah.
We already won.
Yeah.
God is on our side, so
Yeah.
we forget. Like we still got to play the game.
Yeah.
Like we still got
You gotta still move the joystick.
Right. If,
Right.
if we don't play the game, we forfeit. It's
Yeah.
an automatic loss.
Yep.
And it's terrible when you lose something that you're supposed to win just
Exactly.
because you didn't want to show up to the game.
Exactly.
So it's like
That's good.
she makes you put in that work. Like that work you didn't know that you had to do. Like hey, look, God gave us a vision. We gonna do it like this. D-Mac, make us a logo. She said,
That's
nah.
how they came in, literally. I'm like, I looked at that document, I said, now I know if God gave this vision, it's some deeper stuff in there.
Hey.
The story, all of that. I said, so this is the story. This all y'all got to put in this paper.
Hey, Kaya called, like, did y'all see her note she put in? She ain't like the one we
I kept trying to tell them, like, we would be on our weekly call. They wanted, I said, no, y'all, we're gonna have to put more. We're gonna have to do
Yeah,
more.
they
This
didn't
is not
know what they
enough.
was getting into.
They didn't know.
They didn't know what they was getting into. They was like, nah, this will be good. This enough.
I had to take a 2-week break when I did my one-on-one with you. You remember I had to take a break because it can be a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I need a break.
She got you thinking like you.
I need a
praying, You
second.
be praying again like God, tell me.
Tell me again.
Yes,
You tell me again.
She keeps saying it ain't no.
Nah, for real.
But yeah, she helps you really bridge the gap and find a space that you not can but need to occupy.
Yeah.
So without location, that's the first thing when you want to do anything business or whatever. They tell you location is the most. That's the important thing.
Right.
So you have to know where you need to be located spiritually in order to be effective and allow God to use you. And Demaya is very good at that. So
And
we
structure,
forever,
too. Yeah, for sure.
forever like
Yeah.
indebted and
Not indebted.
indebted.
Nah,
whatever,
for real, though.
whatever you need to come through.
Nah, facts.
We
though.
got you.
Facts,
So
though.
I appreciate the support, guys.
Yeah.
yeah.
I enjoyed this too, y'all, and I just want y'all to know they be dropping gems too. I ain't just can't come to add value. They are the value, okay? They set the table. But no, I really enjoyed this conversation. We got to do more, and I
Yes, of
love all
course.
of the wisdom that everyone brought to the table today.
Yeah. Well. Peace.
We're gonna get out, just stop it. No outro. The college you don't have.
We usually have an
I
outro.
thought I had something on
He
me.
said, nah, that was good enough.
Right.
You ain't
He took the
gonna
headphones
end
off.
outro
I
nothing.
thought that was good enough.
You thought that was good.
Yeah, we're gonna end the outro in love.
All right.
Like
Outro.
Subscribe, though.
You know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.